It's fascinating stuff. I mean, it's been, what, like this object of fascination, obsession even, for thousands of years.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like it goes beyond just its practical
Yeah,
uses.
there's like a real mystique to it, you know?
Definitely.
And a lot of listeners have been asking us to really dig into gold as an investment, you
Yeah.
know? Specifically, we're looking at this source called Investing in Gold for a Secure Future. So that's what our deep dive is going to be about today.
Sounds good.
So is gold really still a reliable store of value in our crazy world of, cryptocurrencies and all this kind of tech stuff?
Yeah.
Like, how can people actually invest in it? And how do we even begin to separate, I guess, the allure, the historical fascination of gold from the practical realities?
Right, because I think, gold's appeal, it really does go beyond just economics. It kind of taps into something a little bit deeper, this desire for something that's tangible, that's enduring. Think about, those ancient Egyptians. I mean, they were buried with their gold, right? Or how gold has always been a part of art and religion, I mean, across so many different cultures.
It's true. And, this source really goes deep into how gold was used as currency for such a long time. It wasn't just something pretty. It was literally the basis of so many economies.
Right.
And it's also been traditionally a hedge against inflation.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you think back to the Roman Empire, they started messing with their currency.
Right.
They started mixing in copper with the silver. And guess what held its value?
Gold.
Precisely. It's interesting. So, and that historical context, I think, is really essential to understanding why people still, want to invest in gold today.
Yeah.
Even in our digital age.
Yeah.
People still run to gold when they're a little worried.
Right.
Like if there's inflation, economic uncertainty, that kind of thing.
Definitely. And the source even points out that recent trends in gold prices, they reflect this too. It's driven by factors like global uncertainty and, well, like we said, that fear of inflation coming back.
It's interesting because, the source is it makes it clear that gold is volatile.
Mm-hmm.
It's not some magical thing that just keeps going up, 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 up.
That's true.
So if people are thinking about investing, how do they navigate that? How do they deal with that volatility?
Well, investing in gold for a secure future, it lays out a few different ways you can invest. First, there's just plain old physical gold.
Right.
Bars, coins, that classic image of holding all your wealth in your hand.
Yeah.
You own it outright. And, a lot of people see that as a real hedge against total system collapse,
Right.
But, it's not perfect. I mean, it doesn't generate any income.
Right.
And you got to keep it somewhere safe. You need secure storage.
That's true. You can't just leave it, lying around.
Exactly. So then there's also the option of investing in gold mining companies.
Okay, so you're not actually holding the gold in your hand. You're kind of betting on the people who are getting it out of the ground.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So potentially more reward there.
I see.
But you're tying yourself to how well those companies are doing.
Right.
And I think, this is where it can get a little tricky for someone who isn't, a super experienced investor.
It's true, because there's a lot to keep track of there.
Oh, yeah. Mining stocks, they're affected by all sorts of things, not just the price of gold. There's operational costs, geopolitical risks, like is the mine even successful? Stuff like that. It can be a much riskier, higher reward kind of proposition.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And then finally, there's gold ETFs.
Right.
Which I've heard about, but tell me more.
Okay, so they basically track the price of gold.
Right.
But you're buying shares in a fund, so it's a little bit easier to, get in and out of. It's a lot more accessible and liquid than buying, a big bar of gold.
LTC, yeah.
Right. So ETFs offer diversification and convenience, basically.
Right.
You're not holding on to a physical bar of gold, but you are still exposed to the way its price is moving.
Got it.
Yeah. And the source really emphasizes that, the best way to invest, it really depends on how much risk you're comfortable with, what your goals are.
Right. So I guess tying it all back to our listener's original question.
Right.
Is gold really their ticket to a secure future? I mean, what can we tell them?
Well, gold has this amazing track record. It's been resilient for a long time, but it's not, a guaranteed, path to becoming super rich or anything.
Right.
It's more like, one part of a diversified portfolio. It's not the whole picture.
It's not the whole enchilada.
Exactly. And, it's so crucial to understand, like we said, the risks involved and also the potential rewards. It's a balancing act.
It's a balancing act. All right, so for everybody listening out there, here's something I really want you to think about. If gold has held its value, I mean, think about it, across all these different civilizations, empires rising and falling, all these economic ups and downs, what does that really say about how appealing gold is? And maybe even more importantly, what does it tell us about what role it might play in, the future of finance? That's something to really, really think about as you're exploring all your options.
Great point.
All right.